Hey YouTube, I'm Sylph and today I will be doing a Genshin tier list for all of my mobile friends. Before I start off, I need to say two things. One, thank you so much for 250 subscribers. I love all of you. Thanks for all of the support. And two, this is a Constellation Zero tier list and is the collective opinion of myself and others, so it will be subjective, the same as every tier list ever made. Please, always take any tier list you see with a grain of salt. And please keep this in mind before you start those comment wars. Consider this more of an ease of use tier list with the more mobile friendly characters at the top as we make our way down. Any character in this game can and will be good as long as you are willing to learn how to play them and build them properly. I also want to note that only part of my playtime is on mobile, so I did consult some other friends who specifically only play on mobile for their help. I'll try my best to keep this whole thing as brief as possible so it doesn't go on for too long, but for now, let's get started. Alright, so I'm sorry, but the first thing I really need to say is that I think the days of calling her Keqing are over. We're done. I know that people do it as a joke, but it is a bit much now.
Do you have Keqing?
I do have Keqing.
So originally I had Keqing in the A tier, but after thinking about it, she's really easy to use, super easy. You just plop the E and then you spam those charge attacks until things die, and then if said things are not dead, you just use the ult and then you repeat the process. It's super simple, it's super easy. Her really only main weakness is the fact that she's Electro and Electro reactions kind of suck right now, but I'm sure they'll get tweaked in the future. Easy, high S tier. Oh, the boy Chongyun. He's just the man who wants to sit back and have ice cream with the bros, you know? Instead of a cold one, he just wants to have a cool one. So I guess you could say he's pretty cool. And he's pretty solid in melt comps. Okay, I'll stop. I'm starting to sound like Kaeya right now. However, he can destroy your damage when paired with the wrong characters like Razor or Keqing, so make sure you know who pairs well with him and who doesn't. The Claymore also shatters frozen enemies, so be careful. If you run that 4-piece cryo set, you're gonna lose that crit bonus. Keep that in mind. He's not bad, but there's more useful cryo units in the game. Big baller brand tier BBB from my boy. Lisa, everyone's second favorite climber versus Mona. Lisa is okay. Her ult can provide some nice damage, and her elemental skill is pretty solid, but it just does require a ton of field time, and it can get interrupted easily. She's not bad by any means, but she just requires a little bit of elbow grease to get the ball rolling, and because of that, I'm just gonna throw her in C tier. Okay, so the next two are the main character. I'm just gonna pair both together, but I'll briefly go over both. So Geo MC offers some nice ways to trap enemies and funnel them, as shown by how amazing they were in Theater Mechanicus, but really apart from that, they don't do anything particularly special. Not bad if you have another Geo character and really no one else to use for the resonance, but there's better options, so we're gonna go with C. And then for Anemo, I like Anemo a little more because Anemo reactions are hella nice and they help you deal a lot of damage. Despite this, there's better Anemo units as well. You got Sucrose, you got Venti. I'm sorry. However, +1 for Windblade voice acting by Zach Aguilar. Go check him out on YouTube. But for now, also C. Now, I'm sure you guys know where I'm gonna go with this one. It's Amber. She's by far one of the strongest hypercarry units in the game. Absolutely incredible. Double S tier. Super duper easy. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm getting a call from my agent real quick. Oh, that's Ice Amber. Regular Amber is trash! Oh! Yeah, aiming is such a chore on mobile. Oh my lord, it's annoying. Although it is a little easier now with gyro aiming, I will give it that. But for Amber specifically, it's not enough. They literally made a better Amber, and they made her godly, and they left the OG in the dust. Until she gets buffed one day. I'm sorry, Amber stands. D. Ah, the Beyblade champion of the North, Noelle. Noelle does have a nice shield, and it can heal 50% of the time, because this is a C0 tier list, but the rest of her kit does offer a lot to be desired. Her ult doesn't actually deal any extra damage in the form of any supplemental attack, like for instance Diluc's. It has the bird, and it lights the sword on fire. Hers just gigantic Beyblade sword, and you get extra range. And then you get some bonus damage as well. While it's fun, don't get me wrong, there's just other characters who can do these things better, like I mentioned, such as Diluc, admittedly he is a 5-star unit, but still, she does have a shield, which is nice, so I'll give her that. But you do really need that C1 to unlock her potential a little bit, so let's go with C+. Diona, the bartender of the Cat's Tail. She's an insane support unit, trying her best to get you drunk on cats and lollies.
2 shots of vodka.
Her kit is super useful, offering shields and healing, and the shields can last for short or long time depending on how long you hold that button for. And honestly, I don't really think I've ever seen the shields break. Like Zhongli's I've seen, but hers I don't really think I've ever seen it break. Extremely durable. And her heal will last for 12 seconds, but it only procs every 2 seconds. So because of this, it is rather slow, and I do think that you should build healing bonus on her if you have her. And so because of this, there is quite a bit of a high investment in the artifacts for her. However, once you do this, I do think at late game she's stronger than Qiqi because she can both heal and shield, which Qiqi only heals, but she does require quite a bit of investment. So until then, you do have a ways to go, but still she's very, very strong. A tier. Ah, Mr. Kaeya, the only lad greater at dishing puns than me. He has tapered a bit since Ganyu came out, but he's still a fantastic 4-star unit. His elemental ability is a short cooldown, so you can spam the heck out of it, and you can freeze people, or you can deal superconduct, or whatever. And his ult is like Xiangling's, which can deal a lot of damage when he's not on the field, which is super nice. And fun fact, his ult is actually pound for pound one of the strongest in the game in terms of damage per second, outpacing some 5-star units, which surprised the heck out of me when I learned that. He's also a better applicator of cryo than Chongyun, the boy, because he can't shatter, unlike Chongyun, so the cryo artifact set is really, really good on him. You'll keep that crit bonus. And in fact, I think because of all these things, he's really one of the most underrated units in the game. I debated keeping him at A, but I think ultimately he's high B. Qiqi, the girl that's going ghost 24/7. When not sipping on cocoa goat milk, she's out there healing you and your team for absurd amounts of health. If you're in the beginning to mid game, she is absolutely incredible and you will be so glad you rolled her. However, as you get to the late game, enemies and bosses will start 1 or 2 shotting you so fast that you don't have time to be healing, and she can even be more of a liability because she's going to take up field time to heal you. So because of this, there's a real premium on shield units. And you'll notice the pattern in this tier list is I do have shield units a little higher because on mobile they're really, really nice. Despite all this, I think Qiqi's a fantastic unit though, and all of you will be very happy to have her. A. Barbara! Everyone's favorite depressed idol. I think, if anything, her changes make her even more sad to use. I personally have never really been a fan of her. I think her ability is really slow. It procs about as fast as Diona's, except it is her main ability. And that ultimate tapers off as you increase in adventure rank, but you'll get better options over time. Also be careful when you fight cryo enemies because you'll constantly get frozen all the time. But for now, if your gacha luck has not been kind to you and you don't really have a solid healer, she'll do the job just fine. B-. Jean, aka Not Saber from the Fate series. Complaints I often see for her is that she's too simple or she's too boring to play, but that's more of an issue with fun than anything. I think on mobile, simplicity is really key, which is one of the things that I'm always looking for when it comes to characters. The easier they are to play, the better. Her ability does a ton of damage. It is a gut punch. Enemies go flying and then they slam against the wall and you have the swirl damage. Oh, it's nuts. And then her ult is a massive heal that also cleanses you, which is really, really nice. Both of these, combined with the simplicity and being a sword user, I'm gonna put her in SS tier. Good boy Razor. I love Razor. I love him so much. Out of all the 4-stars, I would say that he is the de facto 4-star main carry, and if any one of you are looking for one, always keep a lookout on banners for him. He may come sooner than you think. He deals an incredible amount of damage and is super duper easy to use. Definitely a character I'd recommend to any new or casual player that just wants to pick him up. S tier. I think Sucrose doesn't get a whole lot of respect on account of being Walmart Venti. But guess what? Walmart brand stuff is still good, okay? Don't hate. If you don't have Venti or don't plan on rolling for him, you try her out. She is so good, and she's way better than Anemo MC. She quick swaps, deals a ton of damage, and vendor artifact sets buffs your team. Super simple, super clean, super strong. A tier. The Gordon Ramsay of Genshin Impact. When she is not roasting your ass, she will spice up your life by feeding her pet some packy Carolina Reaper chips to light the enemies on fire. This, along with her swirling fire spears of doom, really help you out by dealing a ton of damage while you're off the field, which I put at a premium when it comes to this game, especially especially on mobile. Anything that can make your life easier is really just the key to this. I just have 2 issues with her. One, sometimes Guoba is blind as a bat and he'll miss the target right in front of your face, or he'll 180 and he'll hit the guy right behind you, which you don't want to target. And the ult does take a little bit of time to recharge if you don't run another fire unit, but apart from these, she's an easy S tier. Alright, Mona, let's be honest, Mona is broke, but if she really wanted to, she could easily make that money back in no time, if you know what I'm saying, by becoming a professional mountain climber. All jokes aside, Mona is great at constantly making enemies wet so that you can blast them off like Team Rocket with Vaporize. Her special sprint is the fastest in the game, but for whatever reason, it doesn't make you immune to attacks, so it's worse than you think. And on top of that, it's clunky and you'll get stuck on random crap all the time. It's so annoying. And if that wasn't bad enough, her Astrolabe's targeting on mobile is worse for whatever reason. Sometimes the thing has a mind of its own and it doesn't go where you want. It's like Guoba, but it's worse. I don't understand how this is even possible, okay? But she's still able to apply white, and her ult does enable some nice big combos for that 4 seconds that the defense is down. So she isn't horrible, she's just disappointing. So I put her at B tier. Next up, we got Batman, the king of the most unpredictable birds in the world. I debated having him lower, but honestly his damage is so insane, I just can't reasonably go lower than SS tier. I swear though, this game's unpredictable targeting can make you 180-year-old sometimes just like Guoba, and it's the most annoying thing in the world. But at least the ult charges so fast that you can just redo the process every 15 seconds, and then you get a giant flaming sword too, so it's not nearly as bad. And who doesn't love giant flamey swords? Diluc's insane, and you should 100% build him if you get him. Okay, so I'm actually going to link 2 characters for this one. I did have to ask some of my friends for help on this because I don't really use these characters much. So they're both DPS Catalyst users, that's kind of why I bunched them in this group. And on a normal tier list, Klee would be S, probably SS to be honest, and Ningguang would be S at C1. But because this is a mobile tier list, these Catalyst users do have a higher learning curve than most units, and so I do want to caution you guys before going into investing them. You will need to learn things like proper timing and movement and jump canceling, among other things, but both are fantastic and will deal a ton of damage if you can learn how to use them and all their nuances effectively. You will have a god tier character. But overall, before then, I'm just going to put them safely at A tier. Alright, so this one will probably come as a shock to some of you, but I actually have Beidou super low on this specific list. Beidou's huge strength lies in her ability to perform a perfect counter, or as close as you can to a perfect counter. But with the enemy AI being super inconsistent, and with mobile device reliance being such a wide variable, your experience can be ruined easily. I can't really recommend this to all mobile users. When I would play this game on my iPhone 8, the game would stutter so much it would resemble my old PowerPoints from 4th grade. But on my new phone, the game runs fine, so user experience is going to differ and vary widely. If you got a good phone and you have masterful timing, she's going to be fine. And she still has really good ult, but it takes quite a bit of time to charge it unless you run double Electro units. While discussing this with a friend, he even told me that the specific reliance is so bad I should put her down at D, but I don't think she's that bad. She can be fine, but I think I just want people to be wary before going in and using her is all. So I'm going to put her at low end C tier. The better you are and the better your device, the higher you can place her. Xingqiu, the best femboy and the at-home Scaramouche. He's actually the best Hydra support in the game, even without Sack Sword. What has been a common theme this entire list so far? Shields, 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 and off-field damage. All of these are so good for mobile, and he does both excellently. Water Shield applies Hydro, which can help you with reactions, and it can also heal your main carry, and the ult does a metric ton of damage for 15 seconds. If you have not been using him, please give him a shot, even if you don't have Sack Sword. I promise you will be impressed. S tier. Xinyan, or as I call her, Pyro Hannah Montana, because she's fire, and she's a rock star, and she's southern. She's fine if you're starting out. She has a shield, and her ult deals some nice splash damage, but at the end of the day, neither of these are particularly special. I'd put her just right ahead of Barbara and B because she has a shield cleanse, but there's better pyro, better shield, better claymore units. Nothing too fancy. Alright, I just had to go back and tweak the B tier list real quick. Just some slight changes. You know what? I'm gonna do Fischl before Albedo real quick. Fischl is the world's second greatest bird tamer. Obviously, the first is Higa. If you don't know who she is, go check her out on Twitch and YouTube.
There he goes, bye Rick.
But much like Xiangling, Fischl has trained her pet to do her dirty work when she's off the field, or on if you want. But man, this thing, her crow hits like a damn truck. It is a minigun. It's like that attack helicopter from Call of Duty, and it just rains Electro from above. It's insane. I do want to note that Oz is the most consistent out of all the AI animal attacks like Guobo or Dawn, and his damage scales super duper well. Fischl is easily one of the best support units in the game, and any of you that were able to do her event or got her from rolls should be extremely happy to have her, and they should be on your team, if not your Abyss team at least. She's an S tier. Alright, Albedo Alfredo, the dude from Full Metal Alchemist. I don't even know this guy's name. Hold on, let me go look him up real quick. Apparently it's Edward, and I totally didn't have to go look that up. Now, one thing I know I keep echoing for sure is that there's a real premium on characters that have this off-field utility. Fischl, Xiangling, fantastic at providing this off-field damage. However, there is only one king, and the king of off-field damage is Mr. Albedo. His ult deals a ton of damage, but his flower's where it's at. That thing lasts for 30 whole seconds. It's literally longer than Xingqiu and Xiangling's ult combined. The flower will deal bonus damage as you attack, and the damage stacks up so much. He is by far the most useful off-field unit in the game, and the best part is that he is such a low investment character. His best weapon is a 3-star weapon, and he doesn't need many artifacts to get him very far. Also, he uses those trash defense artifacts that you hate, assuming you kept them. For his insane damage output as an off-field character, Albedo is an SS tier unit. And I'm gonna tweak SS real quick. Just some things. Gonna go like this, and Diluc is at the top. Actually, I think it's about debatable between Jean and Albedo. They're both really good, and they're both extremely simple to use. I think you can flip them either way. Doesn't really matter. They're both super good SS tier. Ooh! Alright, Bennett. Benny Boy is really just the incarnation of Ben 10. I mean, look at that. Look at him. And no, I'm not talking about that crappy reboot. I'm talking about the good one. He chooses which mode he wants on his watch, and then he goes, oh, I want to be this. Boom! And he transforms in that role at the flick of a switch. He heals, he cleanses, he can apply a fast pyro. You know, he can be sub DPS, he can kind of be a main DPS, he's a healer, or he can just be an attack buff bot. He does it all, man. It's crazy. His ability comes off cooldown so fast you can charge his ult before that 15-second timer is off. Honestly, the only thing putting him down just a notch is the fact that this is a C0 list and not a C1 list. If this is C1 Benny, easy SS tier. But because of that, we're just gonna put him at the very tippy top of S tier. Xiao, ooh, the edgelord. Okay, so I haven't really gotten to use Xiao that much, so I did have to ask some friends as well for him about their opinion. And surprisingly, I thought he'd be super high, but actually he's really low. At first glance, I would think, oh, he's a spear user, all you do is pogo, except those are the issues. It turns out pogo sticking on mobile is actually much more of a chore than on PC or console. And on top of that, I didn't know this, but when you're pogo sticking and you're jumping and you're dashing all over the place, the camera gets all screwy. And on mobile, that's actually really annoying, and I heard this was a common complaint. On PC, it's really not big of a deal at all, but on mobile, it is extremely annoying. He also has poor energy regen, like Razor, and you also always have to be aware of your life total management because he can't gain any of that back like Hu Tao. And what I'd consider the shock of the century, he's actually a B tier. Alright, Ganyu, aka Ice Amber. On a normal tier list, Ganyu is an easy SS tier. She has some of the absolute highest damage in the game. She's super duper strong. She's actually so good that when I played co-op one time, I literally had one guy play as Ganyu and he killed Childe in 10 seconds. All 3 of the battles in 10 seconds. That's how good he was. However, this is a mobile tier list and aiming is a bit of a chore on mobile, so she does get pinged down just a notch. This has been mitigated because of that gyro aiming that I talked about earlier. However, if you miss that first shot, you kill your damage per second actually. But still, if you don't care about things like playing perfect or meta, and you just want to have fun, she's still an extremely solid unit and you will love her. But for this tier list, I'm gonna set her comfortably at A tier. Alright, so now we're gonna get into the 1.3, 1.4-esque units, starting with Childe. Childe, the community's favorite sugar daddy, soon to be coming back. Or back now, depending on when you're watching this. At C0, I can really only say that he's a sub-carry though, because his dagger cooldowns are incredibly long. Like, at max cooldown, you can literally leave, make a sandwich, come back to your device, and you will still be waiting for that damn cooldown to finish. It's so long. It really needs to be fixed at some point. It's so annoying. But if you do use him in very short bursts like the game seems to want you to, and he will be very solid. He deals Hydro for Vaporize, and his Riptide helps deal with tons of mobs of enemies. His talent is also the most unique and one of the more useful ones, as it increases your whole party's normal attack level by 1. This is actually super useful. Getting talents a level up can be super cheap, but at those higher levels is actually a super high investment, so it's really nice. And he is the most unique character in the game in terms of playstyle. I know that's subjective, but I'm gonna give him that. It's just he leaves a lot to be desired until he gets some tweaks in the future, and he'll get power crept until he does. I hate to say it, but I gotta put him B+. Not knocking on him. You can still enjoy him, you can still use him extremely well, but yeah. Alright, so Venti. So the funny thing about Venti is that I had someone comment on my video asking if Venti is the Rosaria of this game, and I have no idea what the heck he was talking about, so I had to ask my friends who play Overwatch. After them explaining it to me, it all came clear like why this person said that. Honestly, it's a really good analogy. He has insane crowd control from his giant Dyson vacuum ball thing. He's got Swirl, he's got a 4-piece Venerer set that can buff your team's damage, and he's a battery. And they're European. I think all the points that make him strong and super mega broken have already been beaten to the ground by myself and others. If you've already heard any sort of discussion on this, he's easily one of, if not the best unit in the game, and if I had it, he'd be triple S tier, he'd be quadruple S tier, but all I got is double S, so he's top of double S tier. Zhongli, oh here we go. The most controversial unit in the game. His buffs have proven to be extremely useful and actually make him one of the strongest utility units in the game. He can prevent you from being hit, increase your damage, and stun all the enemies in an entire area for 2 whole seconds. I use him strictly as a shield bot and I love it, but you can also kit him out as a main damage dealer if you want. You can use him as a secondary DPS nuking unit. You can use him however you want. He can do it all, and is a Swiss Army knife of the game. The only other character that comes close in terms of that much utility is Bennett. Oh yeah, he's also the best miner in the game, so if you love Minecraft or Roblox, he's your man. Solid SS tier post buff. Alright, so for the girl you've all been waiting for, she's incredibly powerful and can double as your main or your secondary damage unit. She does have some caveats to her play though. You got Childe stance management, you got Keqing's stamina management, you got jump canceling, you got some cooldown management, you got a ton of different things. In addition, on mobile, you do have the issue of that camera management. As you're spamming those charge attacks, you're going to be zooming all over the place. I found that it's not that bad on her, especially if you're taking that time to jump cancel after every attack. You gotta reset anyways. Once you can master all of things with her though, she'll end up being one of the strongest units in the game. I think she's even stronger than Diluc at that point. Plus she's a 3-for-1. You get Bu Tao, you get Hu Tao, and you got a Hat Tao. What's not to love? I think because of the high skill gap with all the caveats, there is a really high ceiling, but her base floor is also really high. So I'm just gonna put her at the top of S tier, just behind Bennett. Alright, just for fun, because Rosaria hasn't actually been released yet as of the timing of this recording, I'm gonna throw her on the board. She's got that spot right there. We're gonna go with double D tier, which stands for Doki Doki. And that's it for my tier list, folks. Please don't get mad, these are just my opinions on their ease of use for mobile, and if you disagree with anything, please let me know down in the comments kindly without flaming. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. I stream over on twitch.tv/Sulfuros, so if you want to stop by, come and say hi there. Until next time, peace soup ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic day.